Risk is an uncertain event that may have either a positive or negative effect on the project. Its primary components are a measure of the probability that a risk will occur and the impact of the risk on a project. Some common ways to classify risk are effect-based classification, source-based classification, and level of uncertainty. The level of uncertainty describes how much is known about the risk. First, it can be described as a known. Known risks are those that have been identified and analyzed so that they can have a planned response. These can be managed proactively and have a contingency reserve to pay for the risk if it occurs. Or we can have unknown risk. They cannot be identified, and so they cannot be managed proactively and may have a management reserve. Risk attitude describes the willingness of an organization or stakeholder to accept varying degrees of risk. Risk attitude is influenced by risk appetite, which is the degree of uncertainty a person or group is willing to take on in anticipation of a benefit. Risk tolerance is the amount of risk an organization or individual will endure, and risk threshold is the level of uncertainty or impact that a stakeholder can accept. Below that threshold, the organization will accept the risk. Above that threshold, the organization will not tolerate the risk. Project risk management includes conducting risk management planning, identification and analysis, risk response planning, and controlling risk on a project. Risk management must be addressed proactively and consistently throughout the project in order to reduce the potential for unmanaged threats to negatively impact the project. This diagram displays the Project Risk Management Overview knowledge area. A risk management plan is a component of the project management plan that describes the team's approach to identifying risk. It identifies the methodology, approaches, and tools that will be used. It documents the roles and responsibilities of those involved. It identifies the budgeting and the scheduling for risk management activities, and it identifies risk categories. So let's look at the components of a risk management plan. First is the definition of risk probability and impact. So exactly how likely is the risk to occur, and should it occur, what will be the impact to the project? We have the probability and impact matrix. We will revise the stakeholders' tolerances for various risks. It will specify the formats for reporting when risks occur, and it will give us the tracking documents that documents how risk activities will be recorded and how the risk management processes will be audited during the course of the project. A risk breakdown structure is a documented breakdown of identified project risk. The risks are represented in a hierarchy according to the category assigned. The RBS is similar to a WBS in that the risks are categorized and arranged within a hierarchy to help project managers manage risk at a more detailed level. The risk breakdown structure has a risk classification. It can be effect-based, which is a way of analyzing the major risks that are inherent to a project that could have an impact on its success. These major risks include time, cost, quality, and scope. All these risks are interrelated such that changes to one will affect all of the others. We can also have a source-based risk classification, and it is a method of analyzing risk in terms of its origin. Sources may be internal or external to the project, as well as technical, non-technical, industry-specific, or generic. We also have probability and impact scales. A probability scale is a graph showing the assignment of values to the likelihood of a risk occurring. Probability scales are designed using a variety of values, such as linear, nonlinear, or an ordinal scale using relative probability values ranging from very unlikely to almost certain. A risk probability score can range from a value of 0.0, which is no probability, to a 1.0, which is certainty. An impact scale is a rating system showing the assignment of a value that reflects the magnitude of the impact of a risk event on project objectives. They can be ordinal scales using values of very low, low, moderate, high, and very high. They can also be ordinal scales using linear or nonlinear numeric values. Often impact scales use both methods. To improve the integrity and quality of data and make the processes consistent and repeatable, organizations typically develop definitions for each value to help the risk management team assign each risk impact score consistently. To improve the integrity and quality of the data and make the processes consistent and repeatable, organizations typically develop definitions for each value to help the risk management team assign each risk impact score consistently. The planned risk management process defines how to conduct risk management activities for a project. It makes sure that the degree, type, and visibility of the risk management is at the appropriate level for the importance of the project to the organization. All stakeholders need to agree with and support the risk management plan. This planning process should begin at the very start of a project and must be updated throughout the life of the project as necessary. Various components provide input to the planned risk management process. The project management plan contains all approved subsidiary plans of the project management plan and all baselines, including scope, schedule, and cost, that should be taken into consideration for planning risk management. The project charter provides high-level risk, high-level project descriptions, and high-level requirements. The stakeholder register provides an overview of each stakeholder's role on the project. The enterprise environmental factors that influence this process can include risk attitudes, risk thresholds, and tolerances that an organization will withstand. Organizational process assets that can influence this process can include risk categories, common definitions of concepts and terms, risk statement formats, templates, roles and responsibilities, authority levels for decision-making, and lessons learned. There are 3 tools and techniques used in the plan risk management process. Analytical techniques that can be used include stakeholder risk profile analysis or strategic risk scoring sheets. Expert judgment about risk may be obtained from senior management, project stakeholders, project managers, subject matter experts, industry groups, and professional and technical associations. Meetings are held with the project manager, selected team members, and stakeholders to develop the risk management plan. There is one output from the plan risk management process. It is the risk management plan. As stated in the PMBOK guide, a risk management plan is a component of the project, program, or portfolio management plan that describes how risk management activities will be structured and performed. Guidelines to developing a risk management plan are the following. Review the project management plan for all approved subsidiary plans of the project management plan and all baselines, including scope, schedule, and cost, that should be considered for planning risk management. Review the project charter for high-level risk, high-level project descriptions, and high-level requirements. Review the stakeholder register for an overview of each stakeholder's role on the project. Review the enterprise environmental factors such as risk attitudes, risk thresholds, and tolerances that an organization will withstand. Review the organizational process assets such as risk categories, common definitions of concepts and terms, risk statement formats, templates, roles and responsibilities, authority levels for decision-making, and lessons learned. Use tools and techniques such as expert judgment about risk from senior management, project stakeholders, project managers, subject matter experts, industry groups, and professional and technical associations. Use analytical techniques such as stakeholder risk profile analysis or strategic risk scoring sheets. Hold meetings with selected team members and stakeholders to develop the risk management plan. And document the risk management plan for the project.